Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Taking Up Space, a Michelle A. Mayer podcast. Always excited about coming forward. Today is absolutely no different. Today's episode, I am going to be speaking upon imagination. I know I speak to that quite extensively, but I can't speak to it enough. Imagination is paramount, and I like to use some of my experiences as an example to the power of imagination and how it can help transform your life, how it can lead you forward in directions that only God will have in mind for you. It was through imagination, instinct, and discernment that I was able to find my purpose. I had to use my imagination a lot of times to get through some very tough sequences in life. I know I'm not the only one that has experienced this. I know many of us have relied solely on our imagination to get us through some of the most harrowing, the most physically distressful times of our lives, whether they are divorces or changes in family, changes in health, being able to imagine ourselves in our highest state of being, regardless to what looks like at this particular moment. Pregnant women, women having children, know exactly what I speak to when I speak to imagination. It was during the birth of my daughter that I would use my imagination to get through it. And the only way that I would have, I can't say the only way, but the default that I had into depending upon my imagination to assist me in birthing my daughter was all due to the fact that another woman had told me things that had worked very well for her in her having her children. And one of those things were that she had to use her imagination to get through the contractions. I had to literally imagine myself in another place doing something completely different just to be able to handle the pain that comes upon us women that naturally give birth to children without any anesthesia, medication, etc. Yet imagination is bigger and broader than that. Imagination is an aspect of oneself that is like a pathway. It creates a pathway through a situation or to a environment. Following the path of imagination and allowing the thoughts of one's mind to come and coalesce into a visualization that we then begin to act upon, because that's what imagination is, allows us to go down a particular road or a particular path that leads us to a particular destination that we probably never would have come into agreement in going down had we not been experiencing some form of trauma, some form of pain, or some form of chaos. It was through imagination, instinct, and discernment, these three, that led me to purpose. Even coming forward and doing these podcasts, um, Bible studies, Sunday services, and all the little intricate things that I deliver in between. I can't say that I would have come forward in the fashion that I had I not been pushed in a particular direction to do so. You see, I had come up with the idea to do all of these things before doing them. That's why I could fall into these particular roles so easily. I had already envisioned in my mind before ever embarking upon this journey in the method in which I'm embarking upon them. I had tossed the ideas around in my mind prior to me acting upon them. My problem was is that and my problem was a problem that most people experience. I had gotten comfortable. I was stuck in variety. I was sitting at the buffet table of all the delicacies of life. I'm not speaking to creature comforts. I'm talking about spiritual delicacies. You see, I always was aligned to the Hebraic house. From the time I was a child, I was brought up in the Christian diaspora, if you would like to call it that. Yet I had, like many of you, or some of you, let's just say some of you, have been uh, began to peek behind curtains to see what is going on in other houses, other spiritual systems, all because of my inquisitive nature to know God, to really find truth in this life, in my existence, and what my purpose is, and know the fullness of God. I had experienced much trauma through spiritual battles here and there along my way up to that point. And even though I did not initially go looking for other spiritual systems, they came to me in the form of battles. People that utilize other systems, or people that utilize the Hebraic house, but in a particular way that invoked a particular power that I just was not accustomed to. And I fell into what someone else would consider victim to such things. I was on the receiving end of the negative aspects of other people's prayers. I knew what it was like to be berated with the negativity of other people's prayers. And in experiencing such things, I got to experience the power of prayer. I did not just know the one-sided nature of prayer, and you get on your knees at night and you thank God for the day, and you thank God for your family, and you beg God to give you whatever desire that you have. I knew that, but now I was exposed to a totally different side of prayer, and it was fascinating, and it was terrifying, and it was chaotic, and it was unpredictable, and it was the most unstable place that I had ever found myself in. While sitting in my faith and honoring my God, I was exposed to another side of my faith that I did not go looking for. And after being exposed to the undeniable power of this side, after the storm leveled itself out and became more stable, I began to wonder, what was that? And I began to look for God in various places. And I was stuck, like most people get, in the research and development stage of my journey. I was stuck in research. I was stuck in telling the stories of the storm. I was stuck in the fascination of all of the antics and the props that people would use to facilitate the antics. And I took it no further than that. Until a storm would come upon me again. And it would say, it's time for you to move beyond this. Complexity came. And complexity came with extreme strangeness. And it drove me back to what I knew. See, that's the thing with life. We can sit at the buffet tables of all these different nuances and fascinations that we may have. But it's when the strange things come upon you, the storms of life, the complexities of life. They come and they shake you out of your dream. They shake you out of your stagnant places. And you run to what you know. You don't run to the fascinations. You don't run to the things that are shiny and mesmerizing. You run to stability. You run to that which you know. And that's exactly what I did. And in my running to what I know, I leaned so far into what I knew this time around that the storm came, that what I knew of God expanded to meet me where I was and to answer all of my questions in the language that I understood, the language of my house. I did not need to go and search in these other verticals for the truth of God. I just needed exposure. I needed to be exposed to other aspects of God. I needed to be exposed to what goes on within the realm of life. And then I needed to be exposed to God moving through the complexities, through the seriousness of my circumstances. Yet I needed to know that it was God. You see, had God moved during the seriousness of my initial experience with the strange things of life, it would have nullified the experience, because the experience was put there for me to know the strange things of life. Friend, the experiences are there for you to, at times, for you to understand as an introduction to spirituality 101. They're not there to destroy you. They're there to heighten your level of knowing. They're there to graduate you, and they are frightening. Had God solved all my problems immediately when these strange things came upon me, I wouldn't have known how to wrestle with them. I wouldn't have built up my own internal spiritual resolve. The fire within me could not ever have been kindled in the manner in which it was. A fire that was kindled that could not be extinguished. That I myself would notice and become enveloped in. And I would know it is of this fire that propels me forward. And yet this fire is of God. It would be as if the serious nature of my circumstances and the complexity of it would draw me further through the vehicle of imagination, coupled with discernment and instinct into my purpose. Discernment being the factor that allows me to discern what is of God, what is of me, what I should partake of, what I should not. What is this experience teaching me, and what is it not? Instinct, when to move, when not to move, when to speak, when to be quiet. To be able to see between the lines, to be able to read a situation that is not speaking its truth directly to me. To be able to read into a situation that looks completely opposite of what my instinct and my discernment is telling me it is speaking. All these things I would need to know. And all these things you will need to know. These are things that are non-negotiable. You must know them. And they all come about by way of imagination. Imagination is the vehicle that allows all of these things to coagulate together in a cluster and to serve you. Without imagination, none of it could be possible. None of them. Not a discerning word. You could not come to the knowledge of it unless you ride upon the vehicle of imagination. Your instinct is not as full unless you have the ability to imagine. I linked in so much because of the seriousness serious like the star, because of the serious nature of my experience and the complexity of it, that all the foundationary knowledge that I had of God began to expand itself. It met me right where I was. And what I had known so well all along and had found at a point bland, it had become bland, now had become vibrant and pungent, and it expanded itself. The same truths took on new meaning. In reading my Bible, I would read it with a new set of eyes based upon all the knowledge I knew before and in the fullness of the blessing of my discernment that I had at that time. It's as if I will be blessed with a new, more profound realization of God's truth through the seriousness and the complexity of my circumstance because I needed it. I had no more variety, no more time to waste. I had wasted a lot of time dealing with all of the varied varieties of my spiritual truth seeking. I was enamored in the research and development stage of my journey. I had become comfortable in just researching. I had become comfortable in conveying foundationary truths to the research that I had done. I did not have any more profound experiences to pull from that would heighten that until I did. And when the serious nature, the complexity came upon me, it expanded deeply what I knew. It heightened my knowing. The experience would be the catalyst I needed to connect dots that were not connected before. It did not negate the information that I had uncovered previously. It heightened it. It expanded it. It set upon it a new layer, another layer of truth, showing me a deeper complexity to this spiritual world that we all swim in. This thing is immense. I don't know if we'll ever get full control of it. It's so vast. It's not to be dominated. It is not. You will waste time focusing on dominating it. If anyone ever does, you will get a rhythm. That's what you'll get. And in itself, that is a gift. That's a very valuable gift. All of my ponderings, all of my research and development, all of the scenarios that came upon me that scared me and frightened me led me back to what I knew best. And in that, what I knew best expanded itself so that I could know it more. I thought I knew it best. And it said, now you only know a certain aspect of me. There's no need to go and look around. All you're going to find are variations of me. Why not focus in on me and allow me to show you another level of who I am? Another attribute of my experience was that, in my experience now, I still experience this, and that is, and maybe you experience this as well. Whenever you wonder about something, I can recall times in my life where I wondered about things like, will I ever know these things? Will I ever understand the spiritual dynamics that play in this world? There's so many different variances of things. Life is so confusing. How will we ever know the truth? All these questions that we ask and we truly mean within our heart and our minds don't go unnoticed. It would be as if the experiences that I experienced, the storms, the complexities, the chaos, would lead me to the answers that I really wanted truth to. It wasn't that the storms and the complexities and the serious nature of the environment that I was thrown into was just there to show me one aspect or to solve one problem. The experience was multi-layered, and it still is, and it shows many different aspects that benefit many different avenues in one's life, mind, body, spirit. They're nuggets of power, of truth that just keep giving. They serve multiple purposes. Some that we know of and we can fit into our lives at this particular junction, and some that we will need further along the line. Things that we can give as gifts to our children or to people that come into our lives and we share our experiences with. They are gifts that keep giving. This is another aspect of God. This is God showing his nature, a solid foundation, nothing for nothing, goodness upon goodness, line upon line upon line upon line, perfection. But you've got to go through it. In my fascinations being answered by way of the Bible studies. When I do these Bible studies, you all, you would be surprised at how much I learn. They just occur to me, things that I've read the book before. It's not my first time at the rodeo, but it's as if I get a deeper knowing that I did not have before. Each and every time. Sometimes more profound than others, but each time I get something new. Thus, I learn through activity. We all learn through activity. I would have come forth sooner, but I lollygagged because of comfort and variety. Variety had me complacent. Comfort made me waste time and take too long. These are truths. These are truths. Yeah, like Miss C. Lee said, here I am. Here I am. I look forward to come forward and offer you unique perspectives that can serve you based on truth each and every time that I come forward. If I cannot, I will not. I won't waste your time. I respect you too much. And I love myself far too much to ever disregard myself and the God within me in such a way. Eager to create new avenues to come before you and expound upon these truths. I thank you for your love and I thank you for your attention. I thank you for your patience. You love more than you'll ever know. I'll never stop telling you. Be good to yourselves. and be good to one another. Peace and love.